All right, here we are. Let's see. Hopefully all of my audio is working. Go ahead and let me know, guys, that are already in here if the music's a little too loud or anything like that. But excuse me, got a frog in my throat. I think the audio ducking should be working pretty good. Now, I gotta say, I've been away for a little while. I mean, not away, just busy with life and things and a lot going on. So I haven't published much, and I was thinking about doing a live stream this week. And I've been watching James Nye. He's been live streaming. I don't know how many of you guys maybe have watched his streams. And James, I hope I didn't like cause you. I don't know if you're still streaming. Let's see. Oh, I'm seeing questions. Oh, there's music. Yeah, it's probably not too loud. I could boost it if you want to hear more. But yeah, James, I hope that I didn't interrupt your stream, but maybe it'll be a good break for you and we get back to it. In fact, I'd be happy to send some people your way when this stream is done. So yeah, I guess I kind of wrapped up most of chapter 5, at least all of kind of the core features that I wanted to build for it. And so I figured, since I've kind of had this little hiatus, it would be fun to hop in and maybe revisit a couple of these things and do a little bit of work. And so I've got a poll going, and I see some people have been responding to that poll. Let's see, where do I get my results for that? Looks like gold coins is at 62%. So if we've got time, if I get through some of these things quickly, we might revisit more than just one of those. So one thing I do want to do is I want to start by just kind of adding a feature that I realized I wanted to add during this chapter, but it wasn't on my official list, but it kept coming to mind. So when we're fighting these enemies, they're kind of a little bit lackluster. I think I would like to add a little bit more game juice. So when we hit them currently, I'd like to add like a flash. And there's a lot of ways we could do this. So I'm gonna just do the approach that I think makes sense to me. We're just gonna modulate the enemy, and I'm gonna build a modular kind of node so that it's easy to reuse, and it's not necessary. It's not gonna break anything. And let's see, the music I've got on my end is actually getting kind of loud, so it's drowning out my own thoughts. I see some comments here. We've got if I do coin drops, make it an overcomplicated treasure drop formula. Yeah, I'll do that, James. There's music. Yeah, there's kind of music. It's okay. If you guys want more or less music, just let me know. But otherwise, I'll just keep it. Thanks for the lessons from, is that Mr. Chart? Thank you. Thanks for joining. Yeah, sometimes, James, you do just need a break. I know we were talking about that yesterday. Sometimes it's just like you need, if you're live streaming or you're recording, and like in a typical day, if you hit a wall and you're programming something, it's pretty common practice for me and a lot of people to get up and just clear your mind, take a walk, you know, do something different. And during that time, in fact, there've been studies on this, and I'm not super versed on it, but while you're away from the problem, your brain kind of resets, and subconsciously your mind will still be working on that problem. So usually after a break, you're able to kind of come back fresh and tackle it. And sometimes you have ideas that kind of come up, or your brain connects all the neural pathways and it starts to make sense. So James is taking a little break, it sounds like. I'm noticing the poll is shifting a little bit away from gold coin drops, but that's still going to be the winner, it looks like. Okay, but let's get to what I was talking about. I want to modulate. I want to make these enemies flash when we attack them. And in fact, one of those options I put in the poll, the HDR color, would actually make this modulate potentially a little bit cooler. So maybe we'll still try it. Maybe I'll still try and get there. I do have somewhat limited time today, but I should be able to go for close to 2 hours. So that's going to be kind of my target. So here's what we'll do. Let's open one of these enemies, and I'm just going to start maybe with the living armor because he's closest. So what we've been doing so far in the project is I've been really trying to build modular little systems that we can just drop in, right? So much like we've done with all of these things, the damage in the hazard area, the edge sensor, player sensor, right? A lot of these things, like if you don't put a hit particle on an enemy, it doesn't break him. It just means he won't have hit particles. So I kind of want to do the same thing. And I've done something like this before, so I hope I don't hem and haw too much, but I'm going to go ahead and just come down to my general folder maybe. And in here, I'm going to make a new script type. I just don't know what to call it. So I need something that's going to just make the enemy flash. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll just call it like damage modulate or something, because that describes what it's doing. Okay, so this will be a new node or new script type. I think inheriting node is fine. We'll go ahead and create this. Oh, James, it looks like you did figure out the issue. James has been working on a like a board game style, like HeroQuest style grid-based system for a little game he's making. It's actually pretty cool. I think you guys should check that out if you want to learn from him. He's done some things in those streams that I think are awesome. So still on the game system tutorial, Habuka? That's okay. I think what we'll do today will still make sense. It'll still work. I wish I could get, I should have repositioned my chat. It's kind of far to the side. Okay, let's do this. This class, I'm going to give it a class name like I always do. What did we call this? Damage modulate. Extends node. We may change that, but I think for now that's good. I don't think we're going to need process. So really what this is going to do, we're just going to plop this node into our enemy. Boom, hit the mic. We'll plop the node into our enemy, and then it'll just kind of check. Really, I think this would work on anything. What we need, though, is because it's going to react to damage, it's going to have to check. This node's going to have to check to see if it's got a damage source, like a damage area that we can connect to, because it's got a signal, right? Let's just pop. In fact, let me close all these scripts except, nope, not that one. Okay, so here's our damage modulate. So this damage area script has a damage taken signal. Our enemy has something like that as well, right? Was hit and was killed. So maybe we make this multi-purpose, because maybe you want to drop this flashing effect onto a breakable object like a barrel as well. So the barrel doesn't have an enemy script attached, but it will have a damage area. So I think we should make this support both. That's what we'll do. And then if you guys have questions as I'm going along, or tangents you want to, you know, pull my attention away from, go ahead and drop them. And gold coins it's dipping. It's at 43%. Let's see. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we need to check if we have, if this node is the child of an enemy, and if not, then we need to check if it has a sibling that is a damage area. That's how I'm gonna do it. So that's not gonna be. It could maybe be a little bit more robust in how it works, but this is how we're going to make it kind of drop, plug and play. And now there was a question about why I've done some things the way I've done them in the chat. In fact, let me see if I can pull that up. It was in my Discord, and there was a question posed as to like, why is he doing it this way? And oh shoot, I can't find it now. I don't know what channel it was in, but somebody was like, why? Oh, here it is. Why in the Metroidvania series is the enemy class setup function to assign variable values when you could just use export variables or onReady instead? And I think that's a good question. And Aya gave a good answer. It might be better than I would have given it. Aya said, look up defensive coding. And Aya hasn't been following the series, but she's been, or they, I don't know what your pronouns are, but have been a longtime follower and helper in my community. And so I really appreciate Aya. Defensive coding, essentially the idea is we want to code this in such a way that it's not fragile. It's not going to break if a component is missing. It'll just cease to function. Okay, so that's kind of the concept behind why I've done some of the things I've done, and I may have not done them in the most ideal or appropriate way sometimes. But you know, it is what it is. So here's what we'll do. We'll go if, maybe we'll just do if I guess we'll just do get parent. I don't know. Or let's do get owner. So we can just use owner. So what the owner is it's going to be the ancestor that is like the scene that owns this node. So in the case of something like this, if we drop it into a living armor, this living armor is the owner. So we can say if owner is enemy. Okay, then we know it's an enemy node. So then what we'll do is we'll say owner dot. We'll do damage. Is it just damage taken? We were just there. What is it? I don't see it. Was hit. See, I've kind of changed my naming convention there. Okay, was hit. Dot connect. Now, what's nice about this? I'm going to go back to my enemy real quick. as I recall, even if we kill the enemy, we still emit a was hit signal. So let's go down to the damage taken. And yeah, so if the we queue free it, we do this, we always emit was hit. Yeah, we'll emit was killed first, but we'll still always emit the was hit, even if it meets this condition where he should die, right? If his health is less than or equal to 0. So I'm just going to connect just to on the was hit, and then we'll just make a function and we'll call, I don't know, modulate node. Let's do that. Now, the other thing that we might have to be kind of considering here is what these signals might emit. So was hit emits an attack area. You see that? But I think that's okay because our damage area, damage taken, also emits an attack area. So that's good. So we'll need to consider that here. So we'll make our modulate node. Start with function. Sorry, I'm trying to check the chat a little bit. Modulate node. And then we've got our attack area. I'm not sure we're going to use it though, so I'm going to give it an underscore. And just this returns void. Okay, so if that happens, I'll just go ahead and print a message for right now. And I probably maybe need to, I might want to do something more with the owner, but actually for now, maybe that's good. Okay, so let's just go ahead and handle this other situation. So if our owner's not an enemy, we should have an owner, but if it's not an enemy, then we can do another check or another condition, right? Oh yeah, Nye says this, he's still learning things. So he's kind of started his journey to some degree when I did with Godot, but he started really getting into it when I started doing my channel, which is kind of fun. So we have kind of a similar path. Like I was using Unity and I tried Godot once and I didn't get it and I didn't like GD script. And then I just dumped it and I went back to Unity because I was like, no, C#'s better and blah, blah, blah. But then Unity pulled that stunt they did a few years ago with trying to like charge for every download of your game and stuff like that. And then I was just tired of it. And I tried Godot again. I gave it a fair shot. And after like maybe a week or two, I just fell in love. Even with GD script, I started to love it. And it's come a long ways. With version 4, they've addressed some of my primary gripes with GD script. And so it's pretty awesome now. Yeah, we could look at owner if you guys want. You can see the owner is the owner of this node. The owner must be an ancestor. If it's a pack scene, blah, 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 blah. The owner needs to be the current scene root. I don't know. But we've used this a little bit. We've used this a couple times, right? In the Metroidvania Forge series at this point with the enemy chapter here. Okay, so if we're not, I got to get to the point here. What we need to do is we need to check if there is a damage area. I think what we'll do is we'll continue to use the owner. So we'll do a loop, I guess. We'll say like for C in owner.getChildren. This is how we'll do it. I guess we could check for siblings. This should work even if it's not a direct sibling, but the damage area is going to need to be a direct child of the owner for this to work, but I think that's okay. For C in owner.getChildren, so in this case, we'll check if our C is a damage area. And then if so, we'll connect here. So we've got damage taken signal. Excuse me. I'm drinking this like, I don't know, energy, vitamin, electrolyte water. Apparently it's going to make me burp. I don't know. Okay, so on damage taken, we'll just connect the same signal. Just going to grab that, throw it in here. And okay, there we go. So if we drop one of these into our living armor, it should start working. So I'm just going to add that node. And then what did we call it? Modu. If I could spell damage modulate. There it is. We should make it a custom icon for that, but I'm not going to yet. So damage modulate is on the living armor. Let's go ahead and run this. Right, it should print that message is all it's going to do right now. Yeah, there we go. 3 hits, 3 print messages. Okay, cool. So I think what we can do is, I'd like this modulate the enemy to work a lot like we did with our player. I don't know if you remember, back when we built our player states and abilities, we added like a cool green flash. Is that just part of the player? I don't even remember where we did that, or it's on the sprite. Player sprite. There we go. This tween color. This is basically what we need to do with our enemy, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just copy this. All right, I'm going to copy the guts. And let's go back to our damage modulate here. We'll just plop it in here. Now, notice we are keeping a reference to a tween. So we do need to define that here. And the reason we're doing this is so that we can kill it if it already exists, because we don't want to stack tweens on top of each other. I mean, I guess you could, but that could potentially cause unwanted results. So let's go ahead and just make a variable here for our tween. There we go. Okay, so we don't have a color. And if we look back at how we did this here, we made the color an argument that we could pass in when we call this function. And I suppose we could copy that logic and then it's extensible in the future, but I'm not going to use this. By default, I'm going to change this default color. So like what I want it to do, you know, when we're modulating sprites, the downside to modulating sprites in Godot is that if you've got a really dark sprite, the modulate has very minimal effect. And so if we were to do something like modulate it red, right, which would make sense because we're damaging it, it's probably not going to have the effect we want. But let's go ahead and do that for now, and we'll play around with this color. So we do have a color here. We can't just modulate ourselves because, right, this node is just a node. A regular node can't be modulated, I don't think. Obviously, it's telling us it can't, right? But if this were like on a sprite, like our player sprite script, then it would. So what we'll do is we'll just say owner.modulate. Okay, and then what we're going to be tweening is, instead of tweening ourselves, we're going to tween the owner. And let's see, duration. What did we do for duration? Was that an argument as well? I think it was. Yeah. I don't know that I want that. Let's just put it for 0.5 seconds. Okay, there we go. So we'll modulate from... What we're doing is we're modulating back to white, which is just essentially no modulation, right? That's normal color. But before we do that, we set it. So what happens with this effect is it gets like a full color effect, and then it tweens back to no color effect. And this actually should work. So I'm going to go ahead and run this. I think it should work. Except I got to have focus on the game. There we go. He's flashing red. I think it looks okay. It works. Works pretty good. I'd like to make it brighter though. So I was talking about the color. What I like to do when I'm modulating sprites, especially when they might be dark. In fact, let me go back and run this again. I've got a couple other enemies in this little playground. So we'll kill this guy again. A little too easy. We've got here we go, a demon chest. See, you can hardly tell that he's... Oh, I didn't drop one. I guess I should drop one of these into the demon chest. This is the downside to building this stuff in a modular fashion. You forget that you got to go add it. You know, alternatively, we could just build it into every enemy. And you may want to do that. In fact, I don't know. That's your choice. Let's find these enemies here. Let me go to the playground. I'm going to just open each of these real quick. So we've got Doom Scribe, and we've got the demon chest. Okay, let's add a modulate to the demonic chest. Now, I think it would be cool. You could export a color maybe for how you want the flash to look. So maybe you could customize it per enemy. Okay, actually red looks okay on him. But you can see right where the enemy's dark, it has very minimal effect. And there's not a whole lot. We can't necessarily completely change that. But if we come into our color... oh, this is interesting. I already had some of this eye value set, I guess because of how I had it set up here. Right? We've got red, green, blue. Oh, that should just be alpha though, right? But for some reason, we've got that there. For some reason, I've already got a little bit of this eye, so it's kind of bright. Well, what we can do though is I'm going to drag this. I'm going to get rid of this blue. I don't know why there's a little bit of blue. Let's put this at like +5 just for fun, just to see what it looks like. So it's a really bright red. It may look a little weird. I'm not sure. We'll see. There we go. Now it's kind of overriding even the darker colors for the most part. Maybe not blacks. Yeah, see, the blacks are still staying kind of dark, but so that's a bit better, I'd say. So there we go. That's how we could do something like that. Just drop a damage modulate. It like I said, it might be nice to give this a custom icon. You know, we could come in here and maybe export that variable for the color that we want it to use. Flash color, I don't know what we should call it. And I'm going to set this by default. If I'm going to define it, then I'm going to use this same code that I used here. So I can define that. Oh, and you can see that this is where it's kind of weird. This value, it's got this, it's 255 on the red, but we define colors oftentimes in a linear, like 0 to 1. So 255 is like 1, but we've boosted this I value to 5. So you can see that overall we're getting a red of 4.416. Yeah, we could come in here and tweak these, and like we could give just a little bit of green and blue too if we wanted. And then down here, we could almost replace this color. We get rid of it. Okay. Just delete that. And we just call this color. How about that? We'll just call it color now. There we go. Let's try this one more time. So now it's going to be kind of a pink color. The flying treasure does not attack. A little pink looking. Yeah, he does. He does attack. Where is he at? There we go. Bada bing, bada boom. And then I guess if you wanted to, let's go ahead and demo that. Let's try this out. Let's go to the demonic chest. And looking at his modulate, maybe we want him to like have a really purple looking, I don't know, thing. Let's do that. There we go. Pretty simple. So that's probably how I might go about implementing that. Now, again, you know, everybody's going to want to do this a little bit differently. You may want to build this into your enemy script because all enemies should do it. Maybe not. But let's go ahead and test this theory. I didn't put it on the Doom scribe, but I'm okay with that for now. Let's go ahead and like take this dummy, for example, the spike dummy scene. Currently the spike dummy does not flash, or the test dummy, neither of them, right? But if we wanted to, we could come in here. I opened the spike dummy. I want to open the regular dummy. Where is he? You can hold Alt and right click, and it'll let you select a node underneath your mouse. So we want the test dummy. There he is. I'm going to come in here and let's just add one of these, damage modulate. And for him, maybe we make it more orange, you know, whatever. So now when I hit the dummy, it should find the damage area and it should just work. Yeah, there we go. Right? Pretty simple. So that's kind of a nice modular way to add this flash. Otherwise, you know, if you build it into the enemy and then you want it to work on a test dummy, then it's like, okay, do I got to write custom code for my test dummy now? Do I need to come in here and how are you going to handle that? And that would be fine too. You know, maybe you build it into your damage area. I don't know. Another option could be part of that. Or you could do this. So maybe the best way to do this just depends on your preference. But there we go. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to look at, hey, look at this. What feature should I implement? As time has gone on, this is kind of evened out. Right now, HDR colors and glow is leading the pack. And then we've got gold coin drops has 33% of the votes. And new enemy type, wolf. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll right here because I'm going to act on this at this point. So the poll, so HDR colors, let's do this. Actually, it's pretty easy to do. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying there are sometimes some side effects of this that aren't good. One of those is that your editor is going to start using HDR colors, which is going to affect, it's going to affect what our script looks like in our highlight and stuff like that. The other, that's one weird, obvious, to me, it's kind of a downside. It depending on your color scheme, it could mess with how things look and it might not look as good as it used to. Weird, right? I don't know why they have it separated that, but I guess it makes sense. If you're going to use HDR colors in your game, then you need to set the whole app to do that. Now, the other thing is if you're exporting for web, these HDR colors will work, but I've experienced some weird results, I guess, when I'm in a browser with web builds, where like I had a shadow that should be black, but I'm using the like a light technique to render the shadow, and in web it was kind of looking green. Weird things can happen. Sometimes the glow is going to look different. So just know that this isn't perfect. I'm going to go into my project settings now, and let's enable this. So what we want to find, I can't remember where it is. I'm going to type HDR and see if that's enough to, well, that left a lot of things visible still. That's surprising. So rendering, it's going to be, where is it going to be? Is it under viewport? Oh, look, I already have it on. I think, in fact, you'll notice this. See, when I turn it on, you can see that the whole UI kind of gets brighter. Let's turn it off for a second and let's run it. Web equals potato version of game. Yeah, you probably just need to disable some of those features. It's not looking too much different. I had turned this on just to see if it would break it, I think. And it obviously doesn't. So let's go back. Let's turn HDR on. And if we look at this, it says, if true, it enables viewport.useHDR2D on the root viewport, meaning, right, the root, so your whole game will inherit this setting. It will allow 2D to use high dynamic ranges in the frame buffer instead of just how it standard normally happens. So what this means is you can assign colors brighter than white, and the engine actually knows that it's brighter than white, whereas normally it would probably just essentially get clamped to white. And this is particularly useful. You may have noticed it here in the little pop-up. This is useful for things like adding the glow effect. Yeah, it says 2D glow in there, right here. And other lighting effects are usually better. So let's go ahead and make this work. Now, in order to take advantage of this HDR setting, we really need to have like an environment node. And this is kind of tricky because I don't know that our game has a great place to plop this. And so for now, I'm going to put one on my... Yeah, should I put one on my player? The player's almost always there. Let's put one on the player for now. And then we'll maybe move it to a more global place. Okay, so that even if you don't have a player spawned or if he gets removed, the HDR doesn't break. Okay, let's go to 2D. I'm just going to add, what's it called? Environment. If I could spell environment. World environment. There it is. So this is a node that contains world environment properties, and you can see in there it talks about post processing effects, lighting, and background settings. So we're going to add one of these, and you can see it needs to be configured. We need to assign an environment here, create a new environment, and we can just plop all the settings on here. Now you could define this environment as a file outside, and I think we'll go through this exercise, but for now I'm just going to do the quick and dirty way of implementing it. Now, I think the most common fallback to using this world environment in HDR2D is it's confusing, because if I come in here and turn on glow, nothing's going to happen. And what should happen, especially with our enemy, is because that's brighter than white, it should actually glow from the enemy a little bit. It should be able to do that kind of effect, but it's not. And this is a common kind of confusion point with using the world environment, HDR 2D games in general. I think if you're in a 3D game, it would have worked just by turning that checkbox on. But what we need to do is we need to come up here to background, and you see how there's this mode. It's set to clear color. And I don't remember why this is the way it is, but we need to use this canvas setting, if I recall. Let's get the tooltip and see. Yeah, I don't know. This doesn't seem to give me a hint as to why this is the case. But I think by setting that to canvas, I might need to adjust my HDR setting. Let's do this. Let's add another thing in here. Just to help us test this. I'm going to add a sprite. You guys wouldn't have to do this if you're following along, but this will hopefully illustrate the point. Yeah, let's just put a gradient texture in. And I'm just going to pick on the white side. I'm going to pick a color like we're using with our enemies. Okay, so red, but very bright. And there we go, update. Okay, so this should be glowing. Let's go back in here. What do I need to do to get this glow to show up? It could be that I'm doing the wrong background, but I think that's it. I think it should be the canvas background. Okay, so let's see. Normalized. It's probably just this intensity and the threshold or the strength. Okay, yeah. See, as I'm dragging these, you see how that starts to glow? So if I turn the glow on and off, you can see that it's glowing. And watch, when I reset this canvas setting, it goes away. It's the weirdest thing, right? So just make sure if you're doing a 2D game, the only setting that's going to work, I think, is that canvas one. I don't know. I mean, I think it maybe makes sense. I just don't know exactly why. And I haven't studied it, so I can't tell you why. A lot of these other settings aren't going to work so great, you know. Tone mapping should work, actually. That's kind of a nice one. Screen space reflections, screen space ambient occlusion. This SSIL was this illumination lighting effects. This is like your volumetric bounce lighting. And these aren't going to do anything in a 2D game. But glow will. Glow will work. You can use adjustments. If you want to do brightness, contrast adjustments, you can use this. Pretty handy. Okay. Let's go ahead and just play with this glow. So really what you need to do is you need to find a setting that looks okay. Like we've got white on our player's hair. And I think a question we got to ask ourselves now that we're implementing this HDR lighting is, do we want this hair to glow? Is that bright enough to glow? Like, what is that? That's controlled by, there's a threshold. So let's turn up the strength again to where we see it. Okay, so I'm going to just bump this all the way up to 2. If we wanted to, right now the threshold is 1. So what threshold of 1 is kind of like saying if the color is white, then it's glowing, or if it's basically white. If we decrease this threshold, you see everything's glowing more. And as we increase it, fewer areas can glow. Okay. So the lower the threshold, give me my tooltip back. The lower the threshold, where is that? Where was I reading? I guess at the beginning. The lower the threshold of the HDR glow. When using the mobile rendering method, right? I mentioned mobile might be weird. This may need to be below 1 for the glow to be visible. A value of 0.9 works well in this case. The value also needs to be decreased below 1 when using glow in 2D as 2D rendering is performed in SDR. I wonder if that just means like without HDR values. I'm not sure. Let's go ahead and do their recommended value of 0.9 for fun. And I think actually that's a good one. I've used that before. But what it is we've got like maybe way too much strength, or, you know, the strength and intensity are they're kind of confusing because they're very similar. So this is the overall brightness multiplier, it said, and the strength is the strength used when blurring across the screen to generate the glow effect. Okay, so more or less blur, which is going to mean a larger radius, I think, is a good way to think of that, to that glow. And then the intensity is just kind of like how strong it is. Really, this intensity of 0.3, you can see it barely registers. And I think that might be okay, but when you have the strength at 1 and intensity at 0.3, you can't see it. I generally tend to boost the strength. You know, I don't know if there's somebody who's kind of studied this, but there's not maybe an exact science for 2D, but I usually keep it close to 1, but a little bit higher to get kind of pleasing values. I mean, you can really boost it, but then that's overkill, right? And what'll happen is that right now, it doesn't look like it's doing a whole lot. But other bright objects in the game will probably look like they're glowing more. In fact, I'm hoping our lamps, no, oops. I've got that stupid thing there. Okay, hold on. Let's just hide that sprite. Let's try this again. Let's see if this glow is visible on our enemy when we hit him. Not so much. It's pretty faint. Is it working? Like, I feel like our player... We do actually have a dark light on this level. I do on my playground level, I think. So that's probably adjusting it, right? Everything's darker because of that. So that will affect the HDR glow. In fact, if I were to take this directional light and instead of making it mix, I make it an add and so it brightens the scene, then I think everything will glow. Hopefully. No, I'm not seeing the glow. I think something's not working. Do we just need to boost this strength and intensity? Let's just make sure. I'm not seeing it. Is it possible that I did add a world environment over here to my playground? So they're competing. Dang it. Sorry, guys. That made it more confusing than it needed to be. Let's try this one more time. You can only have one world environment, okay? Whoa, there you go. So now, true to what I said, because we brightened it and we set our levels pretty high, it looks pretty crazy, right? Okay, so let's set this back to what I had, like 1.2, 1.2. And I'm going to come back and let's just run this real quick. Look at the playground here. So you can see that red glowing off the enemy, actually. This is obviously not what we want, but part of the reason this is happening is because the whole level is lit. So let's come down here to my playground and I'm going to reset this back to mix. And this value is probably like 1 or less. I'm going to leave it at 1. Save it. Okay, there we go. Now it's probably hard to see on stream, but I'm seeing a tiny bit of glow from these fire because they get to white plus the light on the lamp on the lamp. Why do I want to call it a lamp or a lantern? On the fire is causing a little bit of highlight. So there's a little bit of glow happening there. Let's see if we can see the glow on our enemy when we hit him. Oh yeah. See that? It looks kind of glowy. I think that's pretty cool. I think it's working. You can see it quite well on him. Might need that glow effect to fade out more quickly. But, I mean, it's working. I don't know. I'm happy with that. So let's go ahead and do a little before and after comparison. I should be able to just toggle this off. Save it. Go back. Okay, so there we go. It's just modulating. And now with glow turned back on. Oops. Boom. And some of our other things should hopefully actually get... Oh, we might need to make it brighter. But I think our abilities are going to be a little bit glowy too on the player. Sun blew up. Yeah, the sun, totally. It was like a Vaseline on the camera lens. It was kind of like a nuclear explosion, huh? But what's cool about that then is let's do a couple other weird things just to play around with this HDR a little bit. Like let's maybe add a light, just another light to the world that we can play around with. Point light 2D. There it is. And we'll need to add a texture real quick. An image for lights would be great, but I don't really have one. So I'll just use my same old trick. I'm going to make this gradient texture, make it kind of large. And I've got an error there. I got to check that out. Use HDR? Sure. I don't know. I don't know that I really care to actually on the gradient. We don't need the gradient to use HDR for it. To affect the game. I do want this to be like a radio Phil. Hey Phil, how's it going? And we'll drag this to the middle. Center top. And then let's see. Reverse those. Okay, so we've got a light. Where's that at? Where'd I put it? Let's boost. I think it should be updating in the game. Let's boost the energy. Where's that at? Maybe not. Let's try running this scene again. Woo! So you can see things that are getting lit get that glow. I mean, if you play with these and you build your levels intentionally, you can get some really nice effects out of this. That's obviously way too bright. 12 is super bright. Let's set it back to 1. I don't even know if this is enough. It should maybe make the character's hair glow a little bit more. Yeah, I think you can see that. You guys see that? You can see when I get closer to the center of this light, my player's hair is glowing a little bit more, right? Because those whites on his hair are getting brighter and brighter, higher HDR values above 1, so more glow. Oh boy, Monjambo. He tried this kind of thing with a shape 2D that has a shape material that samples screen UV and increases the intensity of pixels under it. It works, but you wonder if it's functionally the same as a light 2D, though that won't have light mask functions. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. Yeah, you can definitely do this kind of thing with other techniques, shaders, or other things. I'm not quite sure what you mean that it might not work with light mask functions. I mean, what's nice about what we've got going here, and you can see that the player glow is intensifying with the flicker of these flames. This just all works in the engine pretty seamlessly, right? We're using our lights. If you had shadow casters, it would work with those as well. This is a pretty powerful way to do things in the game. And you know, it might be worth picking a different level. Right now, I'm just playing in this playground level, but like now that I've got HDR turned on, I want to do a couple things. I want to go maybe to my player, this Sprite 2D, this script. I want to boost this a little bit. Right now, we're kind of capping it out at 1.5. What if we make this 2.5? I don't know. How else? How much brighter do we want these other? I still want it to be this minty blue color, so I might need to. In fact, I might need to undo what I did. And then let's just boost it just by using this slider here. Sure, 3.448, whatever. I want to boost him, and then I want to go over to one of my, like, let's open level 1 and let's run this level. Okay, this is a brighter level. If you start introducing HDR and especially glow, you got to test it on your different scenes to make sure it doesn't blow everything out. Seems to be working okay here. I don't have abilities yet, so I can't dash. Glow seems pretty minimal, if at all. I mean, I'm not really seeing it in these scenes, right? So may need some adjustment. These levels are so empty. I'm gonna go through and add a bunch of. You can see it happening here in this scene a little bit. I can see a little bit of the glow around the flame, right? So, I mean, that's one of those finesse things where you got to kind of set it up. And actually, this project is at a point where I think it would be a good time to start addressing those. Like, the glow's working pretty good right there. But go through, make sure all your things are tuned so that as you start building out levels, you're not stuck trying to balance the lighting. But I think it's actually at a pretty good point. What I would be doing, rather than changing maybe the settings on my world environment, I'd probably be going through and just updating my assets that should glow. Look at that. The glow on this looks really nice, actually. This scene looks beautiful. I don't know how much this is coming through on the stream. I think it should be coming through all right, though. I think that looks good. But what I did with the abilities isn't really showing here. Let's go ahead and run my playground scene because it's programmed to give me all of my abilities. Boom. Yeah, you see the bright green flash when he uses an ability. That might be overkill, but I'm going to leave it for now. I think it's kind of cool. And really, even the enemy glow is a little bit much. And this guy shouldn't be pink. Whatever. It is what it is. Okay, so that's kind of how you would do the glow. Let's do what I talked about. Let's make this a little bit more of a global thing because it's not best practice to put a world environment on a player. Let's say I've got some good comments here. Glow is a pain to get right. Yeah, I agree, James. It can. It really can be. Music, was it? Oh, Musket Fin? I don't even know what that is. You would also record a good glow value in case you need to have some special effect status with glow changes. Yeah, that's an interesting thought. I kind of would need to dig into what you're thinking to know if I fully understand it, but I think that just goes along with what James is saying, that it can be really hard to balance these kind of things. But let's take this world environment. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to say save branch as seen. Let's call it world environment. And I think what I'll do is save it in my global. Just save it right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete it, because I don't really want it a child of my player. Now, one thing I should note, another way to use these world environments might be per level. Like maybe each level has its own world environment. So when you're in like a desert level that's supposed to feel hot, maybe you are boosting up the glow value, for example, right? Or maybe you're using the other settings to give it a tint. Okay, so there's things you could do with that. I'm going to keep one global one. And in fact, I think it might be cool to use a global world environment and build in a few signals or other ways, methods that you could use to update the settings on the fly if you need to. Oh yeah, write it down on a memo. Do you have them ready? Yeah, that makes sense. Muskip is from Latin and Finn is just Finland. So what does muskip mean, and how should I pronounce that? Okay, sorry, I've got a little bit of allergies going on. I'm trying not to sniffle into the mic too much here. Okay, let's go to our global that we just made, this world environment. And this is going to look weird, right? But it should have everything saved. It's got this in here. In fact, the other thing I mentioned is it might be nice to save this. I'll save it as. Now you can decide where you want to save these things. I just don't know. Materials and shaders is a good place. If you have multiple environments, maybe you want a folder for that. I'm just going to save this as the default environment settings. So you can save these, and these are resources, right? So you can swap them out. If you have multiple environment settings, you can swap them. And actually, to your point, Musket Finn, you could, like, if you find a setting that works, you could save it and keep it, and then you can make a new resource and try different settings. And then you don't have to even reset them. You can just come in here and just load the one that you like, right? Going to Geometry Wars look is how you used it. Yeah. Muskip is a trap. It's trap. Muscipula, floral family such as the Diania. Oh my gosh. I don't even know what to make of this. It's a trap, but it's a flower, or maybe we've got a little bit of a typo or something and I'm misunderstanding. Well, that's cool. Floral family such as Diania. Okay, let's see. What am I doing? World environment. We need to make this global for it to do what I want, right? Because right now I've removed it from my player. If I run the game, we shouldn't have any more glow. Yeah, glow's gone. Okay. So what we could do now, some people are going to hate this because there's a lot of people who say you should limit singletons or global things, but I'm going to do it. So I'm going to go to my project settings, globals, and then I'm just going to grab this world environment scene, and global world environment works. You could call it, yeah, I think that's good. If we call it world environment, I think that hides the name of the class. So there we go. Now that that's loaded up, we should be able to play our game, and it doesn't matter where or how we run it, our glow effects are going to be there. Okay. So that's one way to handle that. And I think this is a cool tool. I'll probably just leave it in the game. I might adjust how it looks a little bit later to give it or to make it a little bit more appealing. Right now it's a little bit overpowering, right? Let's see. What should we do next? What did we have in the poll that I didn't do? We kind of did one of them, right? I don't even remember. HDR colors, coin drops was next. Let's do a coin drop, gold coin. We'll get through this. I think what I'd like to do is build a coin asset, a little sprite, make a scene for it and drop it. We're gonna have to add a coin stat variable that we can track and add it to our save game. And then hopefully we have time to add a little coin indicator in our HUD or player HUD. The Latin word meaning is trap. The floral family is called muscipula. The reason I'm muskip is the flower called Diania muscipula. Oh, the reason muskip is the flower. Okay, cool. See, you learn stuff. I don't know if I'm going to remember much of that. I'm not much of a, what's the term? Not arborist. I don't know. Somebody who knows flowers. So let's get on to this next bit, I guess, the gold coin. I'm going to open a sprite actually. And it's going to be on my other monitor. You wouldn't have to do this. I think it's nice to make a coin. And look at me, looking all goofy. I think I've got a... Nope, I thought I had a... There we go. I've got to adjust this a little bit. Okay, that works. Okay, let's see. Let's just make a new file. Now this coin's going to be really small. It's going to be really small. I'm going to start with 32 by 32 real quick though, and I'm going to grab, is my hero handy? I've been working on lots of side things and what little spare time I've had. Let's get our player sprite. I'm going to go back to Godot. And I just want to boink sprites. Open this here. Now we'll go back to a sprite, and then I'm going to just drag in hero. There we go. I want the hero just as a reference real quick. So let's plop in a hero. Like, how big should a coin be? Big, medium, small? I'm going to go for small, I think, but yeah. Now we're going to get in a whole class on flowers. So are you like you like flowers? I mean, is that a thing? Do you like to do photography or a gardener? I'm kind of curious. My wife loves to garden, and in fact, she's got a bunch of flowers that she's probably out planting right now. I'm going to start with yellow. That's not a very good yellow. A little bit more orangey yellow. Oh, yeah, I was going to say, is it Dionysus? That's what I was thinking it would be a Greek goddess name. But okay, so this coin, it doesn't need to be big. Like if it were sitting on the floor, maybe this is the size of the coin. That's kind of small, but I like it. To me, that's fun. I kind of don't like the big chunky coins like a Mario coin, because to me, that's not the vibe of the game, I guess. Okay, so if that's the size of the coin, then let's get rid of our hero. I could have done that. That was pretty easy to decide, right? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to crop this. Maybe I'll give a pixel around it. And you can just click and drag an sprite on those corners to resize it. So this is a 6x6. 6x6. I wonder if we should make it 8x8, but okay, there's a coin. I'm just going to make a rotation, like a rotating animation. Gems instead of coins. I want gold coins. Gold's awesome. Did I say something that made you think I didn't want to do the gold coin? Okay, let's see. Let's make this. Let's make a new frame. I'm going to start with a blank frame. And essentially what this will do is it'll squish. And then it'll have to grow again. And obviously, you know, from 2 to 1 pixel thick is kind of weird looking. But what we'll do is we'll maybe just duplicate that frame. The reason I'm going to... what I'm going to do here is I want it to kind of... I kind of want to duplicate this one as well, but maybe... oops. Move it over. You'll see what I'm going to do here. So I want to give it a very basic illusion of 3D depth, even though it's just this tiny little thing. So what that means is at some point, the coin is turning and we are seeing one side of it and then we see the other. And I'm going to just build in fake lighting so that we can kind of see what that coin would look like. So what that means is I need a darker color. And for a gold coin, that's just going to be kind of an orangey color, I guess. You grew up on a farm. And, oh, yeah, they could be. Gems can be larger than coins. That makes sense. You grew up on a farm and only pet plant ever was a Venus flytrap. It was on the table when you made your first Hotmail account and was thinking of a name and happened to see the plant. Nice. Yeah, different colors on each side, James. That's what I'm going to be doing. So what I'm going to do is, as it's turning one way, it's going to be dark. And then as it's turning the other way, it's going to be light. Okay. And this, I don't know that I like how this is looking yet, but what I might have to do to get what I want in here is build in, like there probably needs to be a frame in between these. So when it gets to this point, it's turning away from the view, I guess. Let's get this yellow back in here. Yeah, then get my orange back. I don't know if that's getting the effect. You know, even just keeping it the full size, but starting to introduce some of that color might do it. You know what I mean? That actually kind of does do what I want it to do. And then like on this one, maybe to add to that illusion of depth, I just put a little bit of the white on this edge. That might not work, but fake angle shadow. Yeah. So then maybe what I need to do over here, maybe I don't like it shifting like it's doing. You know, working on pixel art can be kind of a challenge sometimes to get the effect you want. So really, these two frames are the same. I can delete one. So then I need to do the same thing, like where this is getting darker. Yeah, I'm not sure about this frame right. This white, but whatever. I'm going to take white. And we're going to make a new frame. Actually, let's copy this one. Copy what's here. Okay, so then now the face that's getting the highlight is coming out. And then I think we need to do like one more. And maybe then part of this is that we show this dark edge here. I don't know. I don't know if this is working. It's almost giving an illusion of it rotating. I'm not quite though. Not quite like I was thinking. We can make it kind of asymmetrical. Giving it a larger size might make it easier actually, but let me just look at this. I don't want to belabor it too much. I might just call this good, but so I think this is making that a little too strong. I think this part is working pretty good for me. Sorry, I'm not talking too much right now. And maybe we just need a little bit of yellow in here. Actually, I think yellow there is better. Okay. And then here is where we're starting to lose the highlight, and it's getting darker. And I'm going to make a new frame. Wait, what did I do? Yeah, I want this over here. I'm going to just delete that one. And now this is like a lot darker. Stop playing. It's kind of weird. I don't know if this is really working how I wanted it to, but you know, this right here, I don't know. It looks weird. Ding, ding. It's kind of like it's rotating. I'm going to just call it good. Let's save this somewhere. And let's see, game dev. Where's my, I should have that pinned. Where is it? Metroidvania Forge. I'll just save this in here, or I'll call it coin. And then we can export it. I don't know why this output file is always unchecked for me. Drives me bananas sometimes. Okay, export that. There we go. We've got a coin. So I need to bring that into the game now. That could be refined maybe, but I don't know. Seems to work pretty good to me. We're gonna have to come down into general. I'll probably just plop this into. Let's make a health pickup. Let's just make a coin folder. Okay, I need to find my sprite I created now and bring that in there. So it's almost the weekend. How many of you guys are working on a game? I'm curious. I've got 23 people watching right now. Anybody working on a Metroidvania with me? I know a lot of you guys are following along with the series. That's why you're here. What am I doing? Nope, dev. That's what I want. Coin. There we go. I'm going to take that coin. I'm going to plop it in here. Like I mentioned, James, he's got a little YouTube channel going too. That's pretty cool. And he's been working on not a Metroidvania. I think you guys should check that out. James, if you're going to be streaming after me, I don't know if you stopped yours. I left the stream just before I set this one up. Amalink is yeah, that's true. Amalink says, yeah, you are. What's your game? The Omnilink. And then yeah, James has worked on that Castlevania 2 remake. Maybe some of you guys have seen that as well. That's actually pretty cool. Yeah, busy with work. I hear you. That's where I've been. Work and a few other things. Just really eating up my time lately. Yeah, more videos for you to watch when you get back to it. Okay, let's come into my coin folder. Tell me what you got, like what you guys are, if you're doing something different or if you're hitting a wall. I'd be curious to know. Why am I doing a new folder? I can't talk and do at the same time. Okay, coin. Almost caught up with the recent. Yeah, after this, I'm going to be working on bosses. I don't know if I hinted at that enough. I kind of had a few little teasers in there for one of the bosses that I'm working on. But I didn't put one on every video, just on a couple. Let's add a sprite. Get our coin in there. I didn't even pay attention. How many frames did we end up with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. Oh yeah, that's a good question. Is everybody here also in the Discord channel? It's really hard for me to keep straight. You know, I recognize a lot of usernames on my YouTubes, people that are, you know, actively commenting on my recent videos. But after a while, it does get hard for me to keep track of. Let's see. This is going to need a script. There we go. I do like to keep paths, but I don't care about the rest of that stuff. You know, this is funny. I did a thing the other day where I was animating a type of sprite that didn't allow for animations. And I realized you could write just simple code to animate. And I'm tempted just to do that here instead of add an animation player, but I won't. Working on game 3 of the 20 games challenge. Oh, that's cool. What are games 1 and 2? Articus, are you in the Discord channel? Maybe I should make a specific server. I should maybe make a channel for people sharing their finished projects, because I think they get overlooked. I know sometimes people post some cool stuff, but that would be fun. That'd be fun to check out. I'd love to do a stream where I play some of your games, actually. And I tried to do that once in the past. You're working on a remake of your first game jam to test yourself. That's a good way to see how you're improving. Okay. Let's animate this thing. I guess it needs, you know, this could have been an animated sprite 2D, actually. That's probably the best way to do this. Let's do that. Let's just add an animated sprite 2D. I just don't like the animated sprite 2D for some reason. I'm just kind of like biased. I don't like some of how it works. I don't know. Sprite frames. See, oh gosh, all of this drives me nuts. I don't know why. You know what? I'm going back. I can't do it. I can't do it. Can't do it. Can use the animation player. Oh yeah, okay. You're working on remake. Michael, have I done any Godot mod support code-wise or looked into GDScript mod loader project? No, I haven't. I haven't really, no. I did one time actually do a little bit of research about it, but didn't build anything. I did because I didn't have a game in mind that it actually would have been used for. Level 3 Frogger, go get him, Arctic 07. In short, you're making a modern day guy and dropping him into a war that takes place in Norse myth setting. Main bad guy is a survivor of the Ymir flood. You missed River Raid as a kid. You were thinking of trying that. That's a good one to make. And trying to learn new stuff and getting ready for the GMTK. When's the next GMTK jam, Monoop? I haven't done a game jam in a while. I kind of stopped doing them when I started my channel, to be honest. And I'd only done a few. I almost entered one. I almost entered a couple this year. I just haven't had enough time to commit. It would have, you know, other things would have suffered. Gamer modder, so you want to make character sheets load as loose files for easy modding access. Yeah. I feel like Godot actually would be pretty easy to build mod support for, at least for some things. I don't know. Because you can just use, you know, resource files. Okay, I'm getting too distracted. What do I want to do? Just animate this. I'm just going to rotate maybe fast, 0.05 seconds. And we'll just come in here and plop these in. Okay, it's all the same frame from there on out. So that's the end right there, 0. That would have made sense if I would have done the math in my head. Make this looping. I did set this as the autoplay on load animation, so it'll always be playing. At least it's got some color change. I don't know if it conveys a rotating coin, but like I wanted it to, but whatever. Try jam, only 3 hours. Great jam to bash out during a weekend. Yeah. Yeah. The other thing about me is I don't know what it is. I shouldn't say that. I just struggle to lock in on a small concept. I can't, like, my brain scope creeps too much. I don't know. So a 3-hour jam, it would be fun. I should try it. It just sounds really hard for me to like to even decide on one thing that I want to work on. Okay, we've got a coin rotates. It's got a script. Probably going to need an area 2D, right? What? I guess we never built like a generic interact area, did we? Yeah, you know, I'm kind of surprised I haven't done that. Like, what did we do for the heart? Did we just custom code the pickup for the heart pickup? Let me take a look at this guy. Just an area 2D. Script it all up. Yeah, you know, it would really be nice to... we can obviously just copy and paste this on any script that needs it, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to just make a custom area 2D that explicitly does this one thing. You know? I don't know. So we could build that. I'm not going to do it right now. I'm going to do the quick way. Yeah, for the abilities and heart, no. Yeah, see, James, you're thinking like I did. I thought I did that. Hey, mate, nice to see you live. Thanks for your tutorials and doing a great job. Thanks. Funk? Is that how you pronounce it? Funk? Funky? The systems feel really well thought out, and the art fits the style. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know that I am amazing at designing these systems, but I've failed enough times that I've started to develop some better habits, so happy to share them. The next jam is on the 22nd of July. I'm gonna be camping. I'm gonna be out with a bunch of dudes camping that week. Yeah, the abilities, you broke them, you attacked them and destroyed them to collect them. I thought that would be a different take on it, right? I'm sure that's been done a few times, but... Oh, I'll just do this, whatever. I'm going to copy this function here. Except some of this doesn't make any sense, does it? I think we will want to play some sort of audio, though, so I'm going to keep that. Yeah, we probably want to do this, too. Let's get our Area 2D reference in here. We just won't need this heal. And we might as well connect this up. Yeah, yeah, you're right, James. I did handle, I think I did do that in the action RPG series. You know, that series, I loved it, and I love it, and it's still outperforms the Metroidvania 4 series by a long shot. But that kind of bums me out because one of the most common comments I get in the earlier videos is like people saying like, oh, this background music is killing me. I can't keep watching. And I'm like, dang, you know, it just took me too long to learn the lessons I needed to with the audio on some of those. But it is what it is. Area 2, not just connect, right? Let's see, what do we want? Body entered. There we go. This is almost ready to work. Is this a Twitch stream? No, it's not. I had a Twitch channel once a long time ago and I didn't really ever use it. And when I decided to do YouTube, I have considered it. In fact, I was talking to James a little bit about that. I think he's done some dual streams. I'm just not ready to try. I did talk to another chat earlier. Yeah. I don't know what you're referring to there. I talk to myself all the time. Okay, let's see. We need like a coin sound effect. I don't have a coin sound effect, do I? Yeah, I think I do, actually. I think I do. Okay, here's my coin folder. I had this, some of my earlier game jams and games, I have coins. So if I come in here to my Tundra project, I should have a coin sound effect somewhere. It's probably not just sitting in here, is it? Look at all the sounds. No, one thing I promised for this series that I haven't done yet, and I don't know why I didn't do it with when I was working on the audio. Music. I'm gonna make some music. I think I'm kind of intimidated because I'm not actually good at making music, but it's fun. And there's some good free tools I want to show you guys. Yeah, I probably said something that was confusing. I confuse my wife all the time and my kids, and they wonder who I am. What's wrong with me? Let's see. I want to go into the actual project here. I think that'll be easier. Sorry, guys. I'm just dinking around. The little kid game. Someday Zoe wants to finish the little kid game. That's my youngest, Zoe. She's not much of a little kid anymore, though. She's 11, and she's practically 19. Let's see. Thanks, Gus Lars. I don't know. He wants to thank me, say I'm doing a great job, and got you into working on your own Metroidvania. That's awesome. That's great to hear. I think I don't know how I landed on Metroidvania. I mean, I kind of do. Generally, like in my life, how did I land on this genre? I wouldn't say it was my favorite early on, but I played, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. And that was when that's when it kind of became one of my favorites, I guess. Okay, let's see. And I honestly didn't play that when it was like original too. I played it years after it came out, even though I'm old enough to be around when it came out. What am I doing, guys? I'm looking for a coin sound effect. Pickups? Coin? Is there a sound in here? Oh, look at that. I don't know where I got this one from. Clearly, I just grabbed it from somewhere. I think it was just one of these free. I've got a couple free like sound effect packs. I think that's where I got it from. I'm going to rename it though. That's such a ridiculous name. Coin.wave. I don't think this is going to play if I play it because I've got my desktop muted. Okay. I'll play it in the game for you here in a second. James says his son's working on getting his own computer so he can start with Godot. That's awesome. I was just out with so I'm pretty active in my church community, and so I'm around I call them the young men, just the teenagers, 12 through 18, graduating. I was just out with one of the older guys yesterday, and we were grabbing some dinner and talking about games. He loves game development, and it's kind of fun to see different people try their hand at it. You really love watching my videos, Funky? They help you a lot with understanding Godot systems, and they're close to your own pixel art platform project. Awesome. Greetings from Germany. Sprechen Sie Deutsch? I don't really speak German. I took German in high school, but I don't remember much. I had a really great German teacher, Herr Curtis. Where am I'm just talking. I like actually the chatting aspect. It's kind of hard to do and work at the same time. Okay, so here's our coin. Let's go back into our script. I grabbed an audio sound effect. Boom. That's what I need to do. Coin audio. It's taking way too long to make a coin pickup, you guys. Okay, so we can play the coin audio. That was good. Love the accent. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. One of my brothers speaks German. Yes, distracting me is easy. My brother served as a missionary for the LDS Church in Germany, and I think he still speaks German quite well. Everyone be more distracting, please. Okay, let's see how far am I into getting this to work. This will kind of work. Let's go to my playground and let's drop one in. I mean, it should play a sound effect and cue free it, I think, right? I'm going to close a couple of these things. I just don't need them. Here we are. Let's see here. I lost my folder. Where was it at? Booting. Really, we should probably build some physics into this little guy. Dang it. I should have made him a character. I can make it a character body. I don't know. I don't know how I want to do that. Let's go ahead and run, though. Let's just see if the coin plays a sound. Uh-oh. What's the error? No, not found. Area 2D. I swear I added one. Needs a collision shape, and then a collision shape needs a shape. It's just like so many hoops to jump through, Godot. Gosh. It can be kind of annoying, but it at least makes sense, right? Boop, boop, boop. We'll make that. I think it will be gracious with the size. Okay, now it should work, except you know what? I didn't configure my area 2D. Let's put it, it needs to mask the player layer, right? Make it a sentient coin that hops. That would actually be a great idea. Hops away from the player. Ah, did you hear it? I heard it. Ding! And it disappeared. There, done. Done. Easy peasy. Okay, so what we want, the coin should bounce around. You know what? I should open that heart health pickup again. How did we do this one? It is a character body. That makes sense, right? Let's change this node type to a character body 2D. And then I'm going to copy this collision shape. Just a nice little circle. It's too big though. Did I add the area 2D from the heart to the script? Yeah, no, I copied this. I copied the code, but I didn't add the node. And I know there's a bit of a delay too, so some of these comments unfortunately are hitting me at awkward times. Okay, so we've got a sprite 2D. Did we do... I didn't really set up anything special on that, I don't think. Oh yeah, the layer mask settings are important. Okay. Feels a bit surreal to interact with me live since you watch my videos almost every other day. Really cool to suddenly be able to chat with me. Thanks, I'm glad. I want to do this more. The problem is I usually record my videos in, like, even if I do it in one day, I do it at random times throughout the day, you know, lunch break, other things, other times when I can. So taking time to do this is not usually something I can swing. Maybe I'll do that more in the future though. Okay, so we've got this guy. He's masking the correct layers. What I need to do is look at the script. I think we have some physics process. See, what I should do, really what we should do. Man, I just don't know if I have enough time to do this on stream. See, the coin and the health both inherit similar functionality. They're both pick-upable items. And they both have this physics happening. They just have different things that happen upon pickup, right? I don't know if you heard that. I was smacking my knees. Okay, I really think I owe it to you guys to do this in a better way right now. So I'm going to try and do that. Let's go ahead and what we'll do is in our scripts folder, I'm going to create a new script. I hope I don't tie myself in a knot right now. We'll call this a pickup. And it needs to inherit character body 2D. Okay, so we'll create this. Oh man, look, it threw all this stuff in there. That's funny. I probably just could have left off the template selection and all that wouldn't be there. Pickup. I'm going to remove all this. This is like assuming that you're making like a player character. And let's go to our health pickup here. So you see everything that happens here in this physics process? We want all of our pickups to maybe use this. What we'll do though is we'll introduce an export variable, right? We have heal amount. See this bounce count? I'm going to cut this from here. I'm going to copy it. Hold on. I'm going to copy it for now. I don't want to break the health pickup just yet. We can make this maybe an export variable. So if you want something to be bouncy or bounce more or less, you can. Is it possible to make a group, but no gravity? Did I not put gravity? Or are you just trying to distract me, James? We are doing gravity on this though, right? Yeah, we're using the get gravity here. So there is gravity on this one. I think you're just referring to something else I did or pulling my leg. I'm not sure which. So what I want to do with this is see, we've got, I want to make this bounce multiplier here also an export variable, because some things should bounce a lot and some things should bounce just a little. I have two cameras, you guys. I need to get rid of my old camera. This new one is a little bit clearer. See, I'm just going to go off on a tangent. It's a little bit clearer than my old one, but it's not much better. Okay, where was I? I need to go back to Godot right side anyways. A little of both. Yeah, yeah, no, so there is gravity here, which maybe you missed that as part of your comment, but I probably said something too. In the previous playtest, it did float. Oh yeah, my coin definitely was floating. Yes, you were. Yeah, that's the problem with chat. I guess I could turn my latency down. I don't know, I think I have it on normal. I think there's some faster settings. So we need like a bounce. Well, I'll just call it bounce strength. I don't know if that's the best, or bounciness. In fact, this is probably built into one of the things if if I was paying attention, but I'm using custom code. I'm going to say 0.5 is maybe the default bounciness. And then what we'll do is everywhere we are doing 0.75 in here, I'm going to replace this with bounciness variable. Bounciness. 2 S's. Okay. So now we've kind of parameterized some of these bits of functionality, right? Every type of pickup is going to need, it's going to need that audio that it plays, right? Which, what I was doing in both the health pickup and the coin is I was just dragging in a reference. So we're going to be changing that. Okay. Okay, so this is actually going to work out pretty good. I'm going to copy this ready, and I'm going to paste it in here. Now the catch is, we're just going to have to, how do I want to do this? Around the same age? Yeah, okay. I don't know. I wonder how old people think I am. Being at least about as passionate about what they do as you are about your own work. Yeah, it's fun. I kind of wish I was doing this full time. I started too late for that to be a reality right now, but maybe someday. Yeah, some of us, you know, I got called grandpa in some of my videos too. And actually, believe it or not, I am technically a grandpa. just as of about a week ago. I'm 43. Close. Yeah. So I'm a young grandpa, that's for sure. I married young. We had our first kid when I was 23. And is that right? 23, 24, 23? It has to be. She's 20 now and she just had her first child. Couple 46. Oh, Funk, were you saying you are 46? Or you're guessing that I'm 46? Well, I'm 43. So, thank you. Baby Luna is her name. Luna. She's a cutie. They live about 4 hours away, which is a bummer. We went and saw them and spent the day with them on Memorial Day. And 48? Okay. I think the 40s are like the best time of life, man. Aside from the fact that the age is starting to catch up with me as far as like recovery and like I don't exercise enough. What am I doing here? I had to decide how I want to handle this area 2D because I'm building a generic character body too. Like this is a specific type of character body. What I want is it's going to require an area 2D. I'm just going to use my, you know, someday I might replace this habit. I use this little pattern all the time, and I don't know if it's good, but if C is area 2D, and actually I should probably keep a reference to it for later. Let's do that. Let's say what's the issue here? Oh, we don't have a player entered function yet. And I'm gonna switch this back to Area 2D. I like this because it's I don't know. Just a moment, my wife is calling. Okay, I'm back. Unfortunately, I'm missing out on some fresh tacos right now, but I'll do that for you guys. Let's see. Okay, we need our on player entered function. So I'm gonna look at what we did on this one. I'm gonna copy this on player entered. So we're gonna build all the core functionality for what a pickup should do, right? So we're gonna take our, instead of playing that coin audio, we'll play this pickup audio. Okay, play that. We can disconnect from the signal. We can cue free it. And then I think what we need to do is, because each item is going to have like unique functionality that it needs to handle when it's picked up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make a function here and then we'll override it. So I'm going to say func. And actually there's a way to, what do you call this? Like an abstract function? Let's see. Past 30 and the exercise part can't be denied you. As much as you've loved to sit down with me and everyone else here over German beer and have a proper conversation, you're starting to realize that you're probably just distracting you from what we're actually trying to get done. Great as always. Thank you. Building a community is something worth doing. Absolutely. What do I want to do here? I was going to say, like, what do we do when it's picked up, right? On pick. Oh, is that stupid? On pickup. Okay. And I think it's an abstract class. I'm going to look this up real quick. I haven't used it yet because it's a newer feature. And I'm not, and sometimes my terminology is not quite right. Abstract method. Okay, yeah, we can say, does that work? Nope. I thought it worked. If you guys know how to do this, how to declare an abstract method, let me know. But essentially what an abstract method is, if I am correct, is you're defining a method, and the intention is that it's only meant to be a placeholder. So then any script that inherits or extends this class needs to implement it. And I think I can't do it because I think my class needs to be abstract as well. You know, I don't know. I haven't used it much because it's newer. You know, it's just one of the new features they're adding to make Godot more supportive of inheritance and other patterns and things like that. So, but here we'll just use on pickup, and we can say, for now, we'll just say picked up. And then what we'll do is we'll override this on a per pickup type basis. You know, there's other ways we could maybe do this. We could, oh, it's at abstract on the top of the function, like that. Nice, but you can't have a body, so I got to get rid of that. So really, this probably looks like, oh, well, what the heck? How do I write it, guys? What do I need to do? Both. So can I have, since I haven't done this, can I have both regular methods and abstract? Is that it? Monoop knows it, but you don't know what it is or what it does. Well, good. We'll try it together here. I think this is right. So what we're saying is, hey, this is a function, but if you extend pickup, you need to implement it. And so, in fact, we should hopefully we get like a warning if we don't implement it. We'll get there soon. Okay. So right now, what does this do? It hooks to an area 2D. It keeps a reference to it. We've got bounce, velocity built into it. We have the onPlayer entered function, which will disconnect our signal so it can only be picked up once, and it queue-frees it anyways. And then we play back an audio. So what we need is we need to call onPickup. Oh boy. There we go. That's it. Is there anything that our every pickup should do? I think that's it, really. I really do. Let's go to our health pickup. Anything here is accounted for except for healing the player. But see, what we'll do is this script will become much simpler because now we're just going to do this in our on pickup method. More defensive programming stuff. Yeah. Is that really the proper term, defensive programming? It probably is, at least in some circles. Okay. So I'm just going to run my game and see if it breaks real quick because I've been distracted. Okay, it's not breaking. Coin still works. The coin's still using its own code. So let's start with the coin. So what I'm going to do with coin then is I'm going to make this extend pickup like so. Okay, now I don't need that and I don't need that. I'm actually going to clear this out. And I'm going to clear out the ready function. Oh, look at that. Class coin must implement pickup.onPickup and other inherited abstract methods or be marked as abstract. Sweet. Okay, so this is just telling us like, hey, you need to implement the pickup function. So I think we can just go like this, like on pickup. And I'm going to say void. And there we go. Now we have a valid class. So theoretically, with doing nothing else, this should still work like it was. Oh, I didn't hear the sound effect. Oh, I know why. But it was there. Did you see it? Not only was it there, but now it's got gravity built in. So let's do this real quick. Let me look at comments. More defensive programming. Make sure extensions have needed parts. Not sure, but you like the term. I like it too. Defensive programming is a proactive coding practice designed to ensure software remains stable and secure despite unforeseen circumstances, malicious inputs, or human error. Yeah, that's a good way to... Was that ChatGPT that gave us that response? Or is that just Google? Let's go into our playground, and what I'm going to do... I'm going to take... I'll leave the living armor there. I'm going to take this coin, and a pickup really needs... It really needs a custom icon, you guys, and we've got one. We've got one. We've got an icon. Okay. Some of these coins might even bounce sideways because they're on this curved. Boom. Did you see that? They all bounced. That was beautiful. And they're all just sitting there. And they pick up. They're not playing a sound effect, but that's easily remedied. If we go to our coin, because this extends pickup, it has a pickup audio, and it has a bounce count and a bounciness. So if we wanted these to have a bounciness of 2, this is going to get out of hand. It's going to get out of control real quick. But we'll put our coin wave on there. Ready? Yay! They're bouncing more each time they hit the ground. Okay, that's not realistic. Let's make it 0.8 just to make them bouncy for fun. Wait, what did I not save? I didn't. Oops. I feel like this is actually a bug. I feel like if you made a change in the inspector and ran the project, it used to save, and it doesn't seem to anymore. I don't know if I need to look that up. That might be worth reporting. I've been frustrated by that numerous times. Google Gemini. Oh, Funk, you had to head off. Thank you for the donation. That's awesome. He says, thanks again for the content that you create. He's learned a lot from my videos and wish me and everyone else in the chat a great rest of the stream and a wonderful evening. Yeah, thank you for joining from Germany. You're probably headed off to bed soon. Yeah, it is evening, and they are sentient coins at this point. Proactively fail-safe, prolific, failure-proofed, and stability-focused code done with a shield in hand. Source, me. This is nice. That's a good description. Musket Finn. Okay, well, thanks again, Funk. I didn't expect a donation, but I really appreciate it. I will, I'll go buy a Mountain Dew. That's what I drink. Okay, the coin's working. It's playing sound. I think you guys are seeing how this is coming full circle. Let me just run this again in a less distracted fashion. The coins are bouncing around. And pretty sad. Having that little sound effect, especially when I picked up like, 3 or 4 in a row, is pretty nice. Pretty satisfying. Okay. My coin is been transformed. It's giving me warning because I've transformed it. You're not supposed to do that. There we go. I should clear that warning. Okay, but this is cool, right? Because now the coin just works. And then we could say, like here, not capital P. Here we could say that we picked up a coin. And eventually this is going to have to increment our coins that we have, right? So our health pickup, this is where it gets kind of interesting. Our health pickup, like, we still need a heal amount. We'll still export that value, but I need this to extend pickup. We just don't need this stuff anymore. See, now it's going to be a lot easier to make new pickups in the future. But this is telling us that we need to implement. I wonder if there's. Okay, let me take this. Boink. We don't need the rest of this. So if I click this, will it like add the, no. Sometimes in some, I'm forgetting the term for these, what you call code editor, but sometimes you can have it'll just like it'll just add the missing functions for you. There we go. It does give us the autocomplete though. Like it knows that that's probably the one we want. Okay. So I was referencing N. N was the player. I think we need to make that here. I think we need to make player a part of on pickup so that our other items can do that. They may not need to, but that's just a good way to handle it. Alternatively, we could use like a global signal. And I think both would be acceptable solutions for me, but I'm going to go to my pickup script because we do have the player here. We're checking if it's a player before we call this. So I'm just going to do that. Pass N. And this is going to require that. Oh boy. 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 Nice. Will you also add a coin fall impact sound variable for dirt, silent, rock, clink, and metal, clink? Oh, right. Wood, thunk, too. That's a great idea. Actually, I think adding a bounce sound effect would be appropriate. But all of those sounds, probably not. Probably not going to do that because I think you're just trying to distract me now. But that would be fun. Okay, so there we go. This should be working. Our coin's probably broken. There we go. Now it works. Now it should work. And then our health pickup. See, now these things, a new pickup becomes one function and any export variables you need. Easy peasy. Will that work? A Node 2D to player. Are you talking about, I think you're talking about in the pickup script here. It will, James, because of this. And in fact, this is newer. If you do an if something is of this type, then it automatically like casts it. Yeah. You caught up with where I'm at, it looks like. And so now, like, if I were to go here and dot, you can see that it knows it's a player. Look, it recognizes it's a player class. This is cool because Godot didn't used to do this. You would have to say, like, you know, n equals n as player or something, right? But now it just does. If you do this if check, it does recognize that it casts it properly, which is cool. So I think I'm not going to do this now, but homework for people watching the stream. Export another variable. Bounce audio. Okay, now it's your job to implement that. Okay. I'm going to mute myself. Okay, I hope I was muted while I was blowing my nose. Yeah, lots of good stuff to learn. Just curious, but can you ray check terrain type by collider without extra code? No, if you assigned it to a different collision, if you assign every type of ground to a different layer, then maybe. Unfortunately, getting terrain type is kind of a little finicky. We did it in the action RPG for different footstep sound effects. I gotta blow my nose again, guys. Hold on. Okay, so I've done that. You kind of have to get the tile map, and then what I did, and maybe there's a better way actually, but to my knowledge, maybe there isn't yet. We added a custom terrain type parameter, because there's custom data types that you can add to like your tile maps. So in the action RPG, that's how I did it. Is I added a custom terrain type thing, and then you could paint that. And so if you wanted one to be, you know, I like grass or rock, or I can't remember, dirt. I think I did those 3 types. And then as you assign it, I had a thing that checked whatever tile you were on before it played the footstep sound effect. And then based on the type, whatever that terrain type was, it would play a different sound effect. And I think that's what you would want to do here. But if there's a better way, I'll look at it again. That's how I did it the last time I did it. And I know I got that from looking at what other people had done in Godot. And maybe there's a better solution that's been proposed at this point. Or maybe not. Maybe somebody needs to discover a better solution. But there we go. So yeah, raycast, we would probably have to use the collision layers, at which point I don't think it would be better necessarily. Actually, that's not a bad way to do it either. It's not a bad way to do it. You just have to reserve a few layers for sound effect types, right? Come in here and maybe pick these last. If you're limited, if you're only doing a small set of them. Or alternatively, it could be like a variable that you assign. I don't know. There's probably a lot of ways you could go about it. That's a good question. Wish I had time to get into it. Okay, so now that I'm distracted yet again, we've got our pickup, bounce audio. That was a homework assignment I was giving you. It's going to have to happen in here, right? What the heck? I'll just play it. It's easy. I'm going to do the homework for you. Let's just copy this line of code. There might be a better way to do the homework. This should be the bounce audio. There we go. Should do it, because this only happens when we have a collision. Yeah, how much difference does the sound make? Yeah, you might just want to do like 2. You could also have like a really easy way to kind of fake it would be to have limited terrain types, and maybe the terrain type is like the same on one screen, one board. And so what you do is you have a script, kind of like our playground, this music auto trigger. Maybe you add another node and it's like a ground type. And every time one of these nodes is loaded, you assign what the ground sound effect should be. And then it just updates the global audio player. It's like, okay, now your ground bounce is whatever you assign here, right? And then you could update it that way. That might work. But that assumes that all your ground sounds the same on the one screen, which it probably wouldn't. You know. But that's an option. Okie dokie. Hello, do you know when the boss episodes will come out? You just joined live and really want to know. Plant cake. I don't. They are the next things on my list though. So I've got a lot of stuff coming up. Really, my summer is like slammed. I've got a few, probably 3 weeks of commitments over the next month and a half. So, but in between that, I'm going to be releasing them. And in fact, one of the design showcase entry artists is working on one of the bosses for me, pixel art wise. And so I hope that works out because I really want to showcase it. It's looking really awesome. And then I have developed the sprites for the other boss that I intend to approach. So hopefully I can start recording those within a week or two, and then they'll start releasing at that point. I wish I could give you guys a more fixed schedule, but unless this were my full-time gig, there's just my other life commitments are such that I can't easily commit. But once I get going, I usually release 1 or 2 a week when I'm in the middle of it all. I'm getting tired and I'm getting distracted. What do we need to do to make this? I mean, we've got things working. I hope this doesn't break. I think our audio player will accept a null value. Yeah, it's just not going to play anything unless you assign one. So really what we need to do at this point is we need to make, like, let's test our health pickup. Let's make sure that this is still working because we changed it. And then let's make the gold, let's add a gold HUD. Make it actually affect our player. And then I think we'll wrap it up. Just tell everyone to try running a YouTube channel and see how fast they can make content level. Yeah, right? That's what it feels like. And sometimes I'd put more thought into these. Honestly, having a YouTube channel has been good for me. It's made me a lot more intentional about how I'm developing and how I go about things. So, I've grown from that. Just be happy to have them when you get around to it. They're worth waiting for. Thanks, Articus. Let's see. Let's wrap this up. In order to test the health pickup, I'm going to go into my... can I just make him drop? No, the drops are sub. I got to go into the scene here. So we've got a loot dropper. And here's the items array. Minimum, maximum drop chance. Let's make it 100%. Oh, I don't want to do this on the Doomscribe. I want to do it on my... I mean, I can't... Whatever, that's fine. I want to do it on the living armor, though. He's closer in proximity to the player. So, loot dropper. Okay, 100% chance to drop a heart. And I'm going to increase the randomness, so we might get a couple. So what should happen now is I should get a heart, a health pickup, and hopefully it still works. So I'm going to let this guy hit the player. I'll run into him a couple times. Not doing very much damage to me. Oh, can I? Okay. Okay, so now if I kill him, there's a heart. Still healed the player. I didn't hear the sound effect. Oh, okay. That's easy. I'm not even going to test that again. I forgot to go into the health pickup. We changed how the sound effect works, so now I need to do this. Was it health up? Yeah. There we go. Okay, so that seems to be working. It healed the player. Okay, coin. So what we've got, we need a system. I think it's okay. Now, if you've got a robust inventory, you probably got to give this a little bit more thought. Our player script is getting pretty hefty at this point. Not too bad, 220. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add in here. I'm just going to add a variable for gold. Okay. And I guess this could be an integer. By default, it will equal 0. And then we need a set. I want to put a setter on here. So that anytime it updates, the gold... yeah, I'll just do this. Gold equals value. And then we're going to have like a message. We should add a message. Messages dot... Let's go in here. We'll just use this same signal bus kind of approach. And by the way, there's a way to do this warning where you don't have to do it one by one. I can't remember what the correct syntax is. Yep, life first, hobby second, work last. If only, right? At warning, ignore, start. There we go. And what's the one we're doing? Unused signal. So I was putting warning and ignore on each line here. And warning, ignore, start means, okay, from here, start ignoring warnings. And then we'll put an end. Warning, ignore, restore. Which, honestly, I don't know that we even really need this restore. Yeah, you can disable that warning from the editor. I don't know if that's the best idea for me, because I think it's handy sometimes when I implement a signal and it should be emitted in that same class. But that's a good point, James. You can globally disable some of these warnings. In fact, I think when the warning comes up, there's an option, right? When you click on it. What's going on here? What did I do? Expected identifier after dot for attribute access? What on earth? Am I just having this problem? Yeah, that's what the problem is. Okay, that's weird. Why is that? It was looking like it was happening in my messages, but like this is highlighted red. Why is this highlighted red? Because the player class is broken right now. That's why. Okay, let's add our new signal. Let's do a new signal. And we'll do gold changed. I don't know. Whatever. And I'll make it emit the amount, which is going to be an integer. Okay. Let's save this. Let's go back to our player script. Messages dot gold. What the heck? It's not giving me because of the state I'm in where it thinks I've got an error. Messages. Gold changed. Let me just copy this real quick. Dot emit, and then we'll just pop in the gold value there. Okay. So now anytime our gold updates on our player, we'll emit that signal. That's just going to make it easier for us to update our UI and stuff like that. Oh yeah, James is trying to help me resolve this, it looks like. Okay, hopefully these little errors go. I'm going to just run the project. If it crashes, it crashes. If not, we're good. Okay. So then what we can do here in our coin, what we'll do is instead of printing picked up a coin, we're going to go underscore p dot coin, or what is it, gold plus equals 1. Now, obviously, you could make these gold coins worth more if you wanted to, and you could add that value. So whether that's an export variable or some other thing. But I think this is good enough. So we'll just do gold plus equals 1. And before that's really going to do any good, let's go into our player HUD. And then I got to wrap up soon, guys. I kind of wish I could just stay on all day, though. Player HUD, because I have missed this. I haven't been doing very much game dev in the last several weeks. I'm going to come in here. I'm just going to, I don't know, just add a label. I think it would be good to add a cool icon. And in fact, maybe we could add let's do this. Let's add an HBox container. I'm going to put the label inside that. And then I'm going to add a texture rectangle. And the texture, I'm going to use my coin. Oh, is this going to let me... Let's make this an Atlas texture, I guess. And then we'll open our coin. And I just want... Oh, looking at these, I don't like it. I don't like it. I want to animate it. Know that feeling, but almost time for you to go get the kiddo from the bus stop. So time looks like it's working for both our favors. Yeah. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do the dumb things that I do. Sprite, animation player, copy. Boink. And actually that probably needs to be underneath the control node so that it's easier to deal with in this HBox container. I'm not explaining what I'm doing very well right now, guys, so I'm sorry. But let's add a label. That's what our text label will look like. This is an HBox container. This is a control. This control should come first. Or it could come second. I think coming first makes more sense. Do I have a smaller font in this project? I don't think I do. I think I've only got this one. Yeah, I've just got the one Allegard font. I'll just leave it for now then. I think for this, it would be nice to have a smaller font. I don't want it to be too huge, especially next to that little coin. But what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to make this coin control, I'm going to give it like a minimum size that matches my sprite, which, what was it? Was it 6 by 6? Then oh, this is so goofy looking. My sprite, I can just drag within that, but that's going to help it be positioned appropriately. Now this animation player may not work. It's not working. It's busted. It looks totally busted. Oh, maybe not. Let's go to default. Yeah, look at that. It's I think I just need to can I even delete these? I guess copying that was a bad idea, huh? Animation, remove. Animation, remove. Okay. That's okay. I'll just make a new animation. Set it to autoplay, set it to looping. Pick my sprite. Bum 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 bum. Yeah, I feel like I should actually put this at the end, duplicate that one frame, and then it can sit, so it'll only rotate every now and then. That's good. I do need a coin frame that's just yellow, maybe. Imagine that the UI coin having physics enabled and just falls off the screen every time you open it. Yeah, delete it from the default. It's not like we were distracting me for almost 2 hours. It's been fun. It's been good. Okay, there we go. We've got a little coin UI. Let's drag this control, not that control, the HBox container. I mean, really, this probably needs a little bit more finesse. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give this label, I'm going to assume a kind of like what a maximum amount might be, like 99999. That's a lot of coins. Let's assume that that's what it was for our game. Then I'm going to use that to help me position it. Now, I think a better way to do this would be to, I don't know, adjust this. But what I'm going to do is whatever size this is, I'm going to set that as like the minimum size for this so that as the numbers get added, it doesn't bump the UI to the left. Because I don't want that to happen. Excuse me, I've got like a... So let's see, where's my minimum stuff? Where's my layout? Here we go. What is the current size? 45. Is that really only 45? Oops, that's the wrong one. X 45 on the minimum. There we go. So now, even if I delete values off of this, there, the box is just going to be that size. So like, you know, when you get to whatever, it'll just grow nicely. Okay. In defensive coding, you would account for 100-digit wallets. Okay. Let's see. My HBox container. Why is my coin control not resizing? What did I do with it? Oh, it's just because the sprite is just positioned that way. There we go. So we have a UI. We need to update it, of course, but let's just see. There we go. There's our coins. I don't really love that, actually. I wish it was bumped over, but I'm just going to leave it for now. I'm going to come into my player HUD, and let's go ahead and grab reference to this label. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it maybe gold count label. And I'll make it accessible by unique name. So if I move it around, it doesn't break. And then all we really need to do is just go to our messages system. And then what we have, gold changed dot connect. And we'll make a function for that. And I'm going to just build this at the bottom of my script. And this gold change signal does emit the amount, which is an integer. And yeah, texture rec probably would be better, James. I just wanted to animate it quickly. Or you clamp the max value shown. Yeah, you could clamp the value. Yeah, there probably needs to be something in place. But I think for most games, I think, like for a simple game, I think what we've got is going to be a good start at least. So all we need to do now at this point is take our gold count label dot text and set it equal to, and we can't just give it the amount because it's an integer. It needs to be of type string, but it's actually easy to just convert it to a string with this little str call, just like that. So now at any time, now actually I think what happens, I'm not sure if it's going to set it, yeah, to 0. Hey, there we go. Boom. That's awesome. So that just as easy as that. We do need to, I think one thing that we need to do is on our player, I feel like we need to, emit that at least once when it starts. And quick and dirty is usually fine. Yeah, so quick and dirty can be a double-edged sword. Let's see, gold. I'd like this to set at the beginning, but I'm not going to worry too much about it because I think our save and load system will help handle this, right? So anytime we save or load the game, let's go into our save manager and just look at this. It should be pretty quick to update this save to handle this. Global save manager. So in our save data, we're saving, here's this blob of save data. In here, I'm going to add the gold. So let's add a new item to our dictionary. And by default, that'll be 0. Okay. So this is creating a new save game. And then what we need to do is we need to go to our save game and we need to update this. So anytime we save our game, we need to get our player's gold. Easy peasy. Okay, I think that's good. When we load the game, we have the setup player function that we call our player.gold equals, and we'll just do one of these up here, right? So we need to pass in the key, which is gold. And then the default, that's what this is here. This is like the default value, so, or variant. So it'll just be 0 if we don't have a value saved. And do we have any other save load that, I don't think we do. I think that's it. Now you need to add in the gold to many places. Yeah. Hopefully because of the way we've built it, it's fairly centralized. So a good test is I think I still have my F5 and F7 hotkeys built in. So if I come in here and pick up all this gold, and then I hit F5 to save it, I'm going to close and run again. And then let's hit F7. Boom, 9 gold. Look at that. And there we have it. Basically, it's built. I think the only thing left to do with the gold is add it to our enemies and make it so it doesn't show 0-0 when you start, maybe. Or really, you could improve the gold. That gold UI is kind of lame. I think it should look a little bit nicer. A different font would be good for starters. But I'm going to go ahead and just come into maybe my Doom Scribe and increase his loot drop size. And oops, we'll just make a new loot data. And then what I want here is I want the gold. What am I doing? Do I have gold handy? I'll just drag and drop it. Our coin. I mixed names. Dang it. Okay, so yeah, let's put our coin scene on here. So for now, what I can do, like the skeleton, maybe he drops 5 to 10 gold. And yeah, the drop chance, let's put it at 100%. And should be good to go. Infinite money hack. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. I should clear out these gold coins at this point. We don't really need them strewn about the level like that. But hopefully when I kill this living armor, gold will fly out. Uh-oh. It didn't. So what did I do wrong? Did I do that on the living armor? No, I did not. What did I do it on? The Doom Scribe again? Sorry, Doom Scribe. I love you, but I don't want to run over there. Somebody should have told me. How come none of you guys told me? I was on the wrong dude. Seriously. Gosh. Okay. Drop chance 1. This will be a good way to wrap up the stream. Nice. There we have it. Gold, hearts, all the good stuff. Added some HDR. What else did we do? Oh, we made it so that things can flash. Yeah, I didn't get to making an enemy. If we had selected that, I was probably going to bring in like a wolf. I think I'd put that actually in the poll. But it's hard. I feel like I could show you guys how to make every enemy. But really, having people come in and make their own enemies. And at this point, you know, with what we've done today, you can come in and make your own unique new pickup item types. Add them to your UI if you need to. Maybe you've got mana or stamina pickups or whatever. You know, go have at it. What we've built so far, if you're following along with this, it should be pretty easy to continue to grow upon. And I'm looking forward to the boss chapter coming up next. The boss chapter will be shorter, but the videos will be kind of meaty, some of them. And I'm going to be doing some work behind the scenes on my actual levels, so that when we play, it feels like a little bit more like a proper game. It'll be small, but it'll be proper. And so that's what we're going to be working on. I hope you guys are doing that too. And really, if you're in the Discord, I know there's a few that do share there. And some of you maybe are newer and aren't comfortable sharing, or maybe you just want it to be at a certain point, or for whatever reason, maybe you're not sharing. But I hope people will work up a little bit more courage and just start sharing a little bit more. I think it'll be good. It's good for the community. So join that Discord channel. And thank you for sticking around and joining with me on this Friday. What else should I say? You guys have been awesome. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the fun. So yeah, stick around. And I will say one thing. Check out James. Check out what he's doing. I'll try and link that. I'll update. I'll pin a comment or something so you guys can find it. But he's doing regular live streams now, working on his game. And so I think there's a lot to learn from that. So yeah, thanks again for watching. And as always, we'll see you next time.